Buses have come a long way.
They really have.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, back
Okay.
to you, Mr. Chairman.
They're one half of our crowd, but on to facilities and resources.
All right, David's here to talk a little bit and give us an update. Alan is not with us tonight, and so I'll give you a little bit and then let David take over from there. We on Friday received the permanent certificate of occupancy for the Warren County Middle School addition. So very pleased to have that. As you will remember, though, we are not going to open that facility until we're able to get the parking lot completed. We met on Wednesday afternoon to discuss that project, and we believe that that will go to bid very, very shortly. And we're actually going to appear on the city council, in front of the city council on May the 9th to discuss them partnering with us on some of those sidewalk and parking lot upgrades. So that project is moving very quickly. If you'll remember, that could be done in 3 different phases. Project A will be right in front of the new addition. Project B will be from the road wrapping all the way around in front of the auditorium. That also includes the annex and Warren Connect. Phase C would be potentially going all the way down to the football field, paving that. We're doing it in phases just because we don't know how much that's going to cost, and we budgeted a certain amount, so whatever we can handle in that, we'll try to do. So we've taken care of that. Obviously, East Side's wrapped up. Appreciate you all being there, and they've gotten all moved in, and they're excited about their new addition. So, David, what else you got?
With that being said, those projects are winding down, finishing up.
He wants to cheer, but he doesn't.
Yeah. It sounds real good, but the bad thing is we start another one.
Yeah.
We're actually tomorrow afternoon. We're actually having a pre-bid for Centertown, the Centertown edition, and I've talked to Alan Hill, and he said that there were several bidders, contractors that were interested, and the big thing about this is we're on a time crunch. We just got like a year to complete it, and all of these bidders have promised that they could do this in 10 months. So we're going to do our best to hold them to it. With this ESSER money, we've only got a certain amount of time that we got to do it. And we've also, tomorrow afternoon, we've got a pre-construction meeting here at the board office to start our COVID center. We've awarded the bid, and the contractor is coming to look, and Alan is supposed to be here, and we're going to go over some things, and hopefully we'll get that started, and we'll see progress real soon. The only other thing I had was, and Grant's done mentioned it, was the permanent CO for middle school. We've been waiting on that, and we finally got it. So.
2 roof projects.
Oh yeah, 2 roofing projects. They're real close at Irving College to finishing it up, and during testing, they actually pulled off Irving College and started on Bobby Ray. So those 2 are going on together, which is a little tough, but progress goes. That's the best thing. Progress grows. That's all I've got. Anybody got any questions?
Questions on those?
We had a discussion a couple of meetings back about the city of McMinnville and their civic planning department working on the water drainage, stormwater at the middle school. And I think separately that project at Bobby Ray about the open air laboratory, shall we call it, in the swampy area. What's our status on that?
So we got communication on Friday as well from the city of McMinnville, Lyndon Bassell, who was here and spoke to you a couple of months ago. They are actually ready to go ahead and start moving in to the middle school, and I think removing plants.
I
And,
think so.
yeah. So they were wanting that blessing to go ahead and do that while school is still going on. I believe they spoke with Mrs. Rice to make sure that they wouldn't be in anybody's way, and she gave them the go-ahead. So that project should be starting, I'm guessing, within a matter of days.
Okay. There was a discussion about the plantings at the middle school. This is still an ongoing thing where we can have some new landscaping.
So are you talking about in the back, or are you
in
talking
the
about
back.
with the new?
No, I'm talking about that area they were talking about around the baseball.
Yes,
area.
yes.
Sinkhole.
Yes,
The sinkhole
yes,
area.
yes. I mean, I think the approval we gave them was to replace it with hardier landscape, and so if you've got ideas, then we need to be reaching out to them. So I'm not sure.
We've got the horticulturists there, so they would know how to do that. I wouldn't, but I just want to make sure that we are fully aligned with the city and going forward.
They are leading that project.
Okay,
So
well,
they are leading that. He has researched all that and worked again. I know at Bobby Ray they brought in UT and done a lot of work on that. So as I said, I trust Lyndon to lead that project. If you want to offer some, I believe he hit Tommy up for a donation even in the meeting. So
Hey, I'll go on record with whatever I've got. That we'll be glad to do.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. It's on record. But I think that was a very nice offer from the city.
Sure.
That
He's done a
project-
lot of research on the type of plants that he's wanting to
Okay.
put in there. He's
Yes.
wanting, especially over at Bobby Ray with that wetland, he's
Yeah.
wanting something to soak up as much water as he possibly
Right,
can.
right.
He's done a lot of research and he seems to know his business.
yeah.
I was impressed
Yes.
when he made his
Yes.
presentation a couple of months ago, and I'm just looking forward to getting those projects
Yes.
going, and particularly at Bobby Ray, that outdoor laboratory sounded like a really good idea.
There's a ton of plants that leave this county, what we call reforestation projects, and they clean up wetlands, and they'll replace them with just stuff. I was very, very impressed with his ideas and going forward with that. I think he's the right guy to lead that project, so he knows what he's doing.
Okay, excellent. That takes care of me.
Any other questions for construction, facility, and resources?
Okay.
Okay.
No, on the operations report, Dr. Swallows.
All right. So in your packet, you've got some information related to our federal fund allocation amounts. You normally approve a federal budget at this time, but just like with everything else, we are still waiting on, and we actually received our federal allocations late last week. And so Ms. Dodd has spent a lot of time going through that to try to get an idea of where our allocations are. So your page in your packet should look like this. It was in your addendum, I believe, that came out. You may have to use a magnifying glass to see it, but
It's in the front.
it may be in the addendum. I don't know that you have the paper.
It's on page
Yeah,
19.
it's there.
On page 19.
Now, let's start with the bad news. We are losing almost, well, not almost, we're losing $264,662,000 in our federal allocations for next school year. They are telling us that that's primarily because our numbers for students who are economically disadvantaged is lowering. Just understand that that's causing some issues in several places. But ultimately, the line for students that are below the economically disadvantaged line has not moved. But as you all are aware, that lots of inflation and lots of different things are taking place, and so we have more people moving in ahead of that line. So it's causing our title allocations to be less. $265,000 is probably one of the biggest hits that we've taken in our title funds. So we are working on a plan to do that, how to overcome that. Our biggest hit is in Title I, $221,000 down from a year ago. In Title 1C, we're only $1,400 less. We're in Title II, we're about $18,000 less. Title III, we're $1,800 down. Title IV, we're almost $10,000 down. And then lo and behold, in Title V, we're $13,000 up from a year ago. So I'm not exactly sure why that's the case, but nevertheless, that gets you to the total number of $264,662.50 less in title allocations or federal fund allocations. So what we're asking you to do is to approve acceptance of those funds, and then we will turn around and have a budget for you to approve, hopefully in the May meeting. But we do need you to move and accept that we are going to or move to accept those federal funds and those allocations, and then we'll budget those out and have that for you in May.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for acceptance of the federal fund allocation. It is what it is. We can't change that. That number's determined by the federal government.
Okay, motion.
Second that.
Seconded by Mr. Coe. Any discussion on the federal funds acceptance? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the federal programs budget resolution. This is something that you as a board pass every year that will also go to our county commission. And basically what it says is that Warren County School System is funded in part by federal monies. And that because the state of Tennessee monitors the use of federal program monies, that the Warren County government, it serves as the pass-through agency. So basically what that means is that the federal programs budget is maintained by us, and we, as you as a board, are who determines how that money is spent. All of our other funds go through, because we're an 81 Act county, they go through the county government for approval. But because these are federal funds and they are maintained and monitored by the state of Tennessee, you are saying with this resolution that you as a school board will govern this, and that money will not have to go through the permission, will not need permission by the county government. So you approve this every year, and we're bringing it to you for approval again.
I make a motion we approve this resolution.
Motion, Mr. Judkins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bess. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next item on our agenda is Dr. Bennett is here with us. Dr. Courtney Bennett is here with us today to talk to us about an update on virtual learning and all the things going on at Warren Connect. So I'm going to ask her to update the board. I'm going to be quiet and run her slideshow.
Okay, thanks for helping. And if it's okay, I'll just stay back here because I'm a little camera shy anyway, so, and I can see better over his shoulder what's going to be the next slide. So I just want to talk to you guys briefly about where we're at with virtual learning. So you can go ahead and click that to the next one. Even though we're one school, we actually have two options for families. We have virtual learning for students in grades 6, 12, and homeschool for out-of-district families in grades K-8. And I'll just stop here briefly and introduce, I have a parent here tonight and a student, a homeschool family. This is Miss Erica Watson and her daughter Addison. And so they wanted to come and just show support about their experience with our homeschool portion of Warren Connect. So I'll let you go ahead and click. All right, so you can click through that. Okay, this is actually a video that was sent to us from the Senior Director of Tech Trip Academy, Janet Cox. And we're going to see if this will play. Hopefully it will. Maybe you can hear it.
Probably not.
Hello and good evening. My name is Janet Cox, and I'm the Senior Director of Operations for Tech Trip Academy. I have had the privilege of working with Dr. Courtney Bennett and her team this year, and it has been a wonderful experience. I want to start by expressing my appreciation to your school district on behalf of the families we serve for providing them with the opportunity to participate in our program. We have great families and students, both in district and out of district. The families we work with are so grateful to be able to have certified teachers and additional resources to help support them on their journey as they learn at home. They love coming to field trips and being part of virtual classes and clubs with other kids throughout the country. I am hearing so many success stories from parents about how their children are thriving with this educational opportunity. We are hearing from many families already about joining us for next year and have a very long wait list with over 400 students in Tennessee who have applied and would like to be part of our program. We are looking forward to next year and continuing to work with the excellent administrators and staff in Warren County to provide a personalized at-home educational opportunity for students. Thank you again for providing this opportunity and for allowing us to enroll and serve both some out-of-district students and students who live in Warren County. Have a wonderful night.
Okay. It's been
Go
awesome
again.
working with
Good
her.
evening.
Yeah,
Sorry.
actually, sorry about that. You had to hit that little
I
arrow
did
right
it,
there.
yeah.
You're good. Technology's great when it
Yeah.
works. Okay, so just a quick overview. I highlighted some of the counties that we're actually serving besides Warren County right now. And we're serving Rome County, Knox, Cumberland, White, and Van Buren. We did have a student in Anderson County. That student actually moved over into Rome County. So we have several out-of-district homeschool families that we partner with. The important thing to keep in mind about this is all of those families were not a part of the Warren County district to begin with. They were already in private independent homeschool. So any of those students and families that we brought back into the district, that's money that we didn't have. That's revenue we did not have initially. So that's the bonus for us fiscally for doing this. Right, and just want to kind of talk a little bit about student engagement. As you can see, the families do a great job of getting together, and the student engagement portion through Tech Trip is just awesome. We always have a lot of things going on throughout the year, and I'm sure if any of you have questions, Erica can actually talk a little bit about that because she actually coordinates a lot of our field trips and the things that the kids get together and do jointly. Okay. Here's just a couple pictures. Day on the Hill, Cumberland Caverns, and the aquarium in Chattanooga. Okay, and we also have, is this through co-op learning, Erica? No.
This is at home.
Okay.
This is, well, the students get funding to spend on educational learning materials, and we found dissection, like dissecting frogs, and so this is my second grader doing her frog dissection.
Okay, awesome. All right. All right, and here's a picture of Addison. Addison actually plays on the Warren County Middle School soccer team. She also played varsity soccer, and I believe, if I'm not wrong, that is your award for Rookie of the Year. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, there you go. She's an awesome athlete. So anyway, she had a good time with that. Loves Coach Wilmore, by the way. He's one of her favorites. So projections, looking at right now, I've actually filled 100 seats for 23-24. That's up from the 70 that I had this past year. We also have that wait list of about 400 students. So the kids are out there. We just need to cast the net to get them. The downside of that is Dr. Swallows has to budget for that on the front end. So that comes with a lot of planning as to how we move forward. So again, it's a great way to, you spend a little bit of money up front, but you recapture it on the back end. So, okay, and then just to touch on what we do with Warren Connect Virtual Academy, we serve grades 6-12. We have 50 students enrolled. Some of the opportunities for those students, dual AP and bridge sales. And so we have great partnerships with TCAT, Motlow, Tennessee Access for All, and of course bridge sales through the Tennessee Board of Regents. So we're able to offer our students more than just, the typical sitting at home and the connotation of being at home and doing other work, while they sit on the couch and they don't really, go too far in depth. So we're trying to dispel a lot of that. Okay. Right, and just a couple of things I'll just touch on really quickly that I'm really super proud that I got to be a part of this year. As always, I presented this year in December at the Tennessee Educational Technology Conference in Murfreesboro, and I also got to represent Warren County and Austin, Texas at the Digital Learning Annual Conference, and was invited to come back again next year in February. So looking forward to that. The Tennessee Educational Technology Association Board of Directors, and one of the neatest things I've worked on this year is the Virtual School Monitoring Committee with State Department of Education. Virtual schools are being monitored very closely throughout Tennessee, and they're scrutinized probably harsher right now than a typical brick and mortar school. And that's something that we're working on, redesigning that tool and to what we push out to the families that's pertinent to them. So trying to get the correct information out to the people that actually need it when they're making a decision about whether or not to send their child to virtual school. Okay. Just a couple success stories. We have one student, some of you may know her parents, and this is Miss Annie Lassiter. She utilizes our virtual program because the flexibility is there, and she is able to actually go participate in the Tennessee High School Bass Nation. Every time she cashes a check for winning a tournament, that goes into a fund that goes towards her college. So she doesn't pocket the money, it actually goes toward like a scholarship. So she's one of ours she's a lot of fun. She's probably one of the few people who can outfish me, but she does a great job. We also have 2 seniors, Maggie Garrett. She has completed with Montlow. She has a Google IT Tech Support certification, and she's also getting a TTU Presidential Scholarship, and she's going to be attending Tennessee Tech University this fall. Kerrigan Stewart, she was also Montlow dual enrollment. She has Google IT Foundation certification, and she's committed to MTSU in the fall as well. So, and just so you know, graduation, put it on your calendar if you're so inclined. Thursday, May 18th, 2023, 6 p.m. at Warren County Middle School. We hope to see some of you there. Always appreciate that when you come. And then this is one of our seniors, Miss Braylon Slaughter. Miss Shelley Miller put those yard signs together for us, the lady that did your photos recently. And so she keeps us looking good. And here's a sneak peek of our caps and gowns. Can't really see a lot, that's why it's a sneak peek, but I think you guys will be pretty impressed with how everything looks. So that's it. And if you have any questions, Eric and I'll be happy to answer anything you may want to ask.
I think it's important for everyone to realize that through this board's leadership, we've actually done a lot to try to give as many options to our families as we can. Appreciate the fact that Dr. Bennett's team has done that. Through the virtual program, Mike Mansfield led our monitoring through this year, and we went over one day and had conversations, and it's just exciting about what we're being able to do and what we're being able to offer, and being able to keep our students engaged because we live in a different time. We have lots of folks that are choosing the homeschool option because that's what works for their family. But us being able to partner with Tech Prep is giving them the opportunity to stay involved with Warren County Schools. I was able to go over last week and they were testing. They come into Warren Connect and take tests. They take all the state tests that everybody takes, and so they were lined up there and seemed fairly excited to be there. I don't know how excited they were, but seemed it at least. So just again, I think it's something that a lot of people don't understand that goes on in our school system, and we're just very fortunate to have these tools and work hard with it. So I appreciate that. If you've got questions for Dr. Bennett, please ask away. Put her on the spot. All right. If not, we'll move on. I appreciate that update. I appreciate you all being here. Congratulations.
We're really thankful for this program.
Yeah. Congratulations on being Rookie of the Year.
Let me ask you a question. On that, you've got 100 enrolled, and you've got 400 on the waiting list. What does that look like to move forward to get that bigger? Is what would have to do?
She's going to tell me. So ultimately, what she said was, because this is a partnership, we do pay Tech Trip for every student that we have. So we have to budget that on the front end. We gain that the following year because those students will be accounted for in our TISA. So ultimately, we need to budget that every year. We are doing that. We are taking advantage of federal dollars that we have right now, but ultimately that will become a GP expense, which we've done anyway. I think it's important, though, too, that we're smart about how we do that. And Dr. Bennett brought light to this. The families we're serving right now are ones that are true homeschool, have made that decision to do homeschool. They're not necessarily turning around and leaving our buildings to go to this program. They were homeschool students that we're now partnering with. So it's a win-win, I think, for everybody, in my estimation.
Addison, she's been homeschooled since kindergarten, but
Yeah.
I realized, as she got older, it takes a village, She needed for her to be well-rounded, she needed other people in her life, like Coach Todd. She adores him, and then she also does a math class online and a writing class, and I feel like those teachers provide things that I couldn't give her. So, we're very grateful.
Might be a place we could use that extra SRO funding.
That will actually just be for SROs. So we just have to wait and see how that all kind of plays out.
It's the state money that's gonna replace it.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes. Well, let's cross our fingers on that one to hope that that's what's going to happen.
Possibility.
Yep, that's great point. Other questions? All right, perfect. Thank you all. So the next one on your agenda, I'm going to actually flip this. The Jewel litigation is the next thing, and you all, that's no stranger to you all. This is not strange to you or foreign to you. We obviously settled that case. You gave me the authority to act on your behalf. Just wanted to give you an updated timeline of when that will happen. We don't know exactly how much money that's going to be yet, but we know that it's going to be in the thousands or maybe tens of thousands when that settlement all plays out. We have accepted that settlement at this point, and we are expecting in early fall the first allotment. That will be 50% of the disbursement of our settlement with the Jewel case. And then in early 2024, 2025, 2026, and 2027, we'll receive payments in the amount of 12.5% of the settlement for the Jewel case. So it's going to continue to provide funding to our school system for 5 years to come. So we do believe, I want to recognize Robin and thank her for her work on that. She did a lot of legwork and getting paperwork submitted and being the liaison between Chris McCarty and his law firm, and it was actually another law firm that represented as well. So again, we really wish we weren't a part of this lawsuit. We would like for the vape and Jewel and all those things to not exist, but they do. And so ultimately the school system will benefit from this settlement. So just any questions that you have about that, just wanted to update you about that.
Well, Robin, was Jewel the only defendant, or were there others?
Right now, I think that there's another one that it can go on to some other defendants, but that's the defendant for right now.
Okay, that's probably the most conspicuous
Right.
producer of vape products, but I'm assuming there are others out there that have done proportional damage to our students and our communities. I guess you're going to address this letter from Lewis Thomason about the Meta.
That's next.
Okay.
So,
great.
so I'll just move on to the next information. We received this letter from Lewis Thomason, again, Chris McCarty, with another litigation opportunity. I don't even know if that's the right term. Class action lawsuit that's being filed. It's actually been filed on behalf of the Seattle Public Schools. And so they are asking if we as a school system would like to join that. I've asked Robin to kind of share a little bit about what she knows about that, and then let you all give us some direction on how you want to proceed.
Well, it's very similar in theory to the Jewel case, because that litigation and this is both about how a private company, basically for profit, maybe made some decisions that either got kids addicted to vape and or had mental health concerns, rise, addiction, things like that from the vape and or the social media in the case of the second class action. And that virtually, well, let's not say virtually all, but a lot of that fallout became the school system's responsibility because we have those kids, and as a result of something that they did as their planning, we, have suffered harm and expense from the mental health issues that we see, the poor school performance, addiction, anxiety, all kinds of different things that they have done as a part of their business models, or more or less. So this class action seeks to win in court or get a settlement, and then the same situation would apply, that we would not be adding any attorney's fees. We would just do some legwork, like Dr. Swallows was mentioning, answer some discovery and things like that about what that looks like in McMinnville, Tennessee, and for our school district. And then we would be able to participate in any payout, any settlement or judgment that comes at the end. And Chris McCarty is partnered again with an attorney out of on the West Coast, Mr. Shinoff, and their firm. They're looking to, make it nationwide. But he is representing the folks in Tennessee, and so he's trying to see how many folks want to be involved. Very similar to what we did with the Jewel case.
How many other systems have,
I am not sure about that, because we just got this letter in March. This is just really a show of interest.
Casting a net.
To see, what, who would be interested. So I don't know if you had a chance to look through that lawsuit, but the complaint is quite lengthy, 92 pages, I believe, and of course, obviously, all that has to be proven in court, or to the extent that the plaintiffs decide. There's many plaintiffs, so that it is potentially some money, because there's 7 or 8 defendants that would be a part of this.
Like you say, it's a lengthy complaint, but just on the first or second page, that item 4 about the defendants making a scientific study of the neurophysiology and exploiting that to keep users on the screen, and I don't know, that they may be able to come up with some number about how many hours. I think we know there's some numbers on how many hours on average teens and sub-teens spend interacting with social media. But from what I understand, I think that is a very strong part of this lawsuit, is that they took advantage. It's an addiction. It's an addiction situation. We just dealt with the Jewel lawsuit, again, an addiction, physiological addiction, and from what I understand, this is exactly what this suit is aimed at. So what do we need to do? Do we need to respond to that letter and say we're in, or we're considering it, or?
I would, yes, we need to respond, and ultimately we need your guidance. If you're comfortable in joining the lawsuit, then I would think you need to take action.
Yes, what they will do is, right now it's an interest letter. We'll say we're interested if you are, and then we would have to sign that agreement, that contingency fee agreement that we did last time in another meeting.
Well,
they
just
would,
to reply
if they decide that there's enough folks to make it worth their while, I suppose.
Well, I would be in favor of responding to the letter and saying, yes, we're interested, send details.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to that effect?
I don't think necessarily you have to vote, but it would be helpful to us to know that everybody's in agreement. So I would say take a vote.
Okay, well, that's my motion
I'll second.
to respond to the law firm, Lewis Thomas, and say we're interested. Keep sending information.
Okay.
You've heard the motion, got a second. Mr. Coate, what would be the wishes of the board? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There you go.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So the next item on the operations report, we're providing to you the district professional development plan overview. Mr. Mansfield and Mr. Curtis are here. They've worked hard on this. And so generally what you do in the April meeting is approve all the schools' PD plans. Those are not in your packet as of yet. We will do that in May. But we did want to bring to you an overview of what PD, professional development in service, would look like in Warren County this summer. And the reason the schools are not necessarily in your packet is going to be a little more clear when we come to the next item on the agenda. So ultimately, the schools have a little bit more work to do. But I want you to see that as it is explained, for Warren County Schools, our PD consists of 5 days during the summer of 2023. One district-wide day, which would happen on August the 2nd. That's traditionally when we have our whole district meeting. There will be 3 school-level days, July 31st, August 1st, and August 3rd, and then 1 grade-level subject area on various dates throughout the summer. One of the things that we're trying to do is, because the summer seems to be getting shorter and shorter, especially with our Acceleration Academy, our summer school programs, we're trying to move all of that to that first week of August, but it's very hard to do that to get the grade level and the subject areas, so we are allowing them to choose that throughout the summer. And so ultimately everyone will be responsible for 5 days. And so we're just asking that you approve that plan. And then once you approve that plan, we will come back to you in May with school level appropriate plans.
I'll make a motion that we approve the district professional development overview for summer of 2023.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second of Mr. Judkins. Any discussion on this professional development plan? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. So also in your packet is a letter, and I'm bringing to you tonight a request to alter our school calendar for 2022-23. Most of you are aware that what we do as a school system began many years ago, that we go 30 minutes extra a day in order to stockpile 13 days that can be used in the event of severe weather or sickness, or there's 2 other reasons, and I should have written them down, but professional development is one, and then there's one other one that I can't remember what the other
Natural
one is.
disaster.
National emergency.
Yeah, sounds good. No, there's four reasons why we can use that, but what we do generally in Warren County is that we request approval to use 3 of those for professional development in our calendar. Generally, that's been the day, we have a day in November, we have a day as we come back in January, and generally we have a day at the end of the school year. So that was already set in our calendar. But if you do not use your full allotment of stockpiled days throughout the school year, you can request special permission up to 2 days to convert school days into additional professional development days. So knowing that we have 5 remaining stockpile days for this school year left, I petitioned the commissioner to convert 2 of our last week of traditional student days to professional development days, to May 22nd and 23rd. Those would be converted to professional development days. The commissioner, as you have in your packet, has sent a letter granting us permission to do so. But I'm asking you to amend the calendar, convert those days to professional development. And all that means is that we will spend those days as faculty and staff or schools working on some things that we need to get prepared for next school year. Our compulsory in-service requirements. We've just adopted a new math curriculum. It would give us an opportunity for teachers to get a head start on that and do several things. And they will actually present a plan. Schools will present a plan of what they would do on those 2 days. But ultimately for students, they will rejoice triumphantly that they will actually end the school year 2 days earlier than they would have if you approve this. So ultimately the last school day for students would be Friday, May the 19th. Again, subject to your approval. And then Monday, May the 22nd, Tuesday, May the 23rd, Wednesday, May the 24th, would all be professional development days where employees work but students do not come. Thursday, the 25th, would be the last day of school, which would be the abbreviated day, 7:45 to 9:45. Again, subject to your approval.
Well, I will make the motion that we amend the 2022-2023 school calendar to convert May 22nd, May 23rd from scheduled instructional days to a stockpile day for professional development.
I second that.
He said that much better than I did.
Well,
I sure say that.
You did a good job.
I'm not gonna repeat it, you heard what Mr. Coates said, so like I say, Doug, any discussion on that one?
I do have a
Go
question.
ahead.
Did I hear you say that we are only allowed to convert 2 of those days if they're unused?
Correct.
Okay.
Once the calendar is submitted, now we could say before the school year starts that we want to use 10 of them for professional development. Now, the Department of Education would also have to approve that. But then that would only leave us 3 days for potential stockpile days that we need to use for weather. So we don't do that. And so once we get into the school year, we can only request up to 2
Yes,
be used.
Okay.
good question. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the students rejoice. You can hear them.
Yeah. Probably too.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry to do this to you, but I have a couple of additions that we've gotten here pretty late. And I'm going to start with a budget amendment that should be in a paper that you've received. Looks like the school nutrition budget amendment. Normally these things are put into your consent agenda, but it did not make the consent agenda, so I'm bringing it to you for approval. This is simply moving $1,000 from the staff development line into the travel line. You can see the reasoning down there. Staff development, move from travel to staff development to cover the cost of registration for state conference. When we budget this, this is budgeted earlier in the year, you don't have any kind of idea of what conferences and things are going to cost, and so ultimately they're just trying to move $1,000 from staff development into travel so that they can cover it. And so,
Chairman, I will move for adoption of school nutrition budget amendment 4.
Okay,
Second.
we got a motion, we have a second. Any discussion on this school nutrition budget amendment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
all right, moving on to we have 2 more items. One is the VPK scope of services. This is voluntary pre-K. That should also be in your papers. We got this email at about 2:30 this afternoon. And so, again, this is an item that would normally go in your consent, but I have to sign to say that we are accepting this, and so ultimately the board approves anything that I sign. We have to apply for VPK every year. Dr. Nicole Crouch does that for us. She had submitted that. We got approval for next school year to fund 8 classrooms, which is what we currently fund. And then we fund 1 locally. So we offer 9 VPK classrooms throughout the district. But the state will fund 8. We fund 1 locally. And basically, I would return this letter saying that we agree to follow these guidelines and the scope of services. So again, would need your approval for me to be able to do that. This is not new. This is not anything different. This is something we do every year. But because of the timing, we need your approval on that.
Mr. Chairman, I want to move for approval of the VPK 23-24 scope of services.
Second that.
Got a motion, we have a second. Any discussion on this VPK 2023-24?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Are we funded 8 based on our enrollment numbers?
You know that? I don't either.
We just know that it's 8.
I think
They
they're
say
based on
that.
quality indicators. So in order to apply, we have to put all these different things in this application. And so you get points based on different things. We also, enrollment is a part of that from the year before. So ultimately there's points for all the different things, and that gets you up to a certain level, which qualifies us for 8 classrooms. Yeah.
And we do that formula each year.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know Nicole every year gets a little nervous around the time she has to submit that because we want to stay at 8,
Oh, yeah.
ultimately 9 as we fund it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Last one, you don't have to vote on this one, but it is informative in nature. If you will remember last year, the state passed a law that requires open enrollment, and there are certain tenets to that law. And so Mike Mansfield heads that up for our district, and I appreciate it's a lot of work to be able to determine all the open slots that each school has. And then we have to advertise those on our school website, and that's going to actually take place beginning tomorrow, April 25th, and will run through May the 8th. And then at that time, after they've had 14 days to look over those, there is an application process that will take place from May the 9th until June the 8th. Families would have an opportunity to submit an application for an open enrollment in a school that they are not zoned for. But understand, we advertise the available spots per grade level at those schools. And so that's what will be on the website. That's what we will tell people that they're calling. If they're asking you, you need to send them to our website. That information will be there. That application will be there. And so we are following it. We did this last year, and it went fairly well from what I can tell. And we'll be doing it again this year, but just for our families and community, for them to know that open enrollment period will take place beginning tomorrow. It will ultimately wrap up June the 8th, but they will be required to submit an application for that. So just wanted you all to be aware of that in case you get calls or questions about open enrollment.
They do provide their own transportation, right?
Yes. Yes, sir. Other questions about that? All right, Mr. Chairman, that wraps me up for operations.
Okay, any other business? Okay, well, as always, thank everyone for being here and participation, and next meeting is May 22nd.
May 22nd.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Any opposed? You're adjourned.
We do have a workshop on
May 2nd.
May 2nd, so that'll be right back here.
Dina is handing out the director's evaluations. Feel free to bring those back to